We will discuss about implementation issues, standard solutions, and examples of ADaM datasets. In that first one is creation of derived columns versus creation of derived rows. We will start rules for the creation of derived columns versus creation of derived rows. In this, we will see rules for the creation of rows and columns. Rule 1. A parameter invariant function of a val and base on the same row that does not involve a transform of base should be added as a new column. Rule 2. A transformation of a val that does not meet the conditions of Rule 1 should be added as a new parameter, and a val should contain the transformed value. Rule 3. A function of one or more rows within the same parameter for the purpose of creating an analysis time point should be added as a new row for the same parameter. Rule 4. A function of multiple rows within a parameter should be added as a new parameter. Rule 5. A function of more than one parameter should be added as a new parameter. Rule 6. When there is more than one definition of baseline, each additional definition of baseline requires the creation of its own set of rows. Rule 1. A parameter invariant function of a val and base on the same row that does not involve a transform of base should be added as a new column. Param uniquely describes the contents of a val. Sometimes, a val itself is not used for analysis. Instead, change from baseline is used for the analysis. It is created based on 3 rules. 1. CHG is derived from a val and base on the same row. 2. The same calculation applies on all rows, and the function CHG equals a val base does not vary according to param. This second condition is known as the property of parameter invariance. 3. CHG equals a val base. Function CHG does not involve a transform of base. The collected results for weight and cholesterol are in original results unit column, which is a character form, which is not standardized. For example, if data are typically collected in conventional units, SDTM cannot accommodate standardized data in both conventional units and the International System of Units, that is SI units. So a transform in an ADaM dataset is needed. For every parameter, a new set of rows to calculate CHG in log 10, weight in kg, must be created. Example, for weight in kg, a transform to log 10 weight in kg is needed. Rule 3. A function of one or more rows within the same parameter for the purpose of creating an analysis time point should be added as a new row for the same parameter. Illustration of Rule 3. Creation of a new row to handle a derived analysis time point that is d-type is average. For analysis purposes, to impute the missing data, needs to creation of new derived records within the same parameter. D-type means derivation type. For example, analysis endpoint value is defined as the average of the last 2 available post-baseline values. So, a new row should be added with d-type, that is, derivation type, equals average, analysis visit equals endpoint, analysis visit n equals 9999. An extension of Rule 3 is necessary in the case where there is value level, record level, population flagging. Missing post-baseline values were imputed by last observation carried forward, and by worst observation carried forward. For example, SAP states that if the subject is off drug for 7 days prior to a visit, the measurement collected at that visit is not included in the per-protocol analysis. Then, for some subjects, the last 2 available values may be different for intent to treat and for per-protocol analyses, so that the calculated endpoint averages are record-level population flags intent to treat flag and per-protocol flag. Example, for param equals weight in kg, the last 2 available intent to treat values are 92 and 95, whose average is 93.5, whereas the last 2 per-protocol values are 94 and 92, whose average is 93. Hence intent to treat flag and per-protocol flag would both be set to yes. Values of analysis visit n equals 9999, analysis visit equals endpoint records. This slide contains an example of data supporting change from baseline analyses of migraine pain. In this study, missing post-baseline data are imputed by the methods of baseline observation carried forward, BLOCF, and LOCF. In this study, At week 8, there is a scheduled visit, visit number 6, where BP were not collected. The SAP says that missing post-baseline data should be imputed, derived, by two methods, LOCF, WOCF, worst observation, carried forward, for LOCF analysis. The missing week 8, Vicinum 6, result is imputed by carrying forward the most recent prior available post-baseline value, which is the Vicinum 5 value. That the week 8 value is imputed is indicated by LOCF in the derivation type column, for WOCF analysis. Even though the unscheduled Vicinum for point 1 value was not chosen to represent the week 2 analysis time point, it is used to impute the missing week 8 time point because it was the worst post-baseline result up to that point. This slide contains an example of some of the columns in a dataset supporting analysis of a two-period crossover study. Subject 000 to 76 did not continue to provide data after 1 hour post-dose. For this subject, the 2 hours post-dose planned observation must be imputed. The data for both subjects are included in the BLOCF and LOCF analyses of migraine pain at 2 hours post-dose. Subject 001863 had complete data, so no imputation was necessary. A TPT is the analysis time point description. A TPTN is the analysis time point number. Analysis value C contains the pain assessment, and analysis value contains the numeric coded value of the assessment. Rule 4. A function of multiple rows within a parameter should be added as a new parameter. We will discuss this rule for in our classroom training. Rule 5. A function of more than one parameter should be added as a new parameter. Example: blood samples are drawn at every visit, and laboratory test measurements of total cholesterol and high-density lipoprotein cholesterol are found in the SDTM lab dataset. The protocol calls for analysis of each individual lab analyte, and also for an analysis of the ratio of total cholesterol, C, to high-density lipoprotein, HDL, cholesterol. The ATOM dataset contains parameters for each of the two measured lab tests, as well as a new set of derived rows where the description in param is total cholesterol, HDL-C ratio, and analysis value contains the calculated ratio at each time point. Rule 6. When there is more than one definition of baseline, each additional definition of baseline requires the creation of its own set of rows. For any data point, it is desired to have the ability to analyze shift from the most recent baseline or any prior baseline. In case there is more than one definition of baseline in an ATOM dataset, new rows must be created for each additional alternative definition of baseline. Whenever there is more than one definition of baseline, the base type column is required. Base type identifies the definition of baseline that corresponds to the value of base in each row. There is only one base column, and only one column for each qualifying function of a val and base. In this example, the three baselines of interest characterize different portions of the study: run-in, double-blind, and open-label. For any data point, it is desired to have the ability to analyze shift from the most recent baseline or any prior baseline, for any given parameter and subject. Whenever there is more than one definition of baseline, the number of records flagged with the BLFL equals Y is equal to the number of values of BISA type. For complete training details, please contact us and visit our website crystalclinicalsas.com and mail us to crystalclinicalsastraining@gmail.com. Enjoy your training tour our institute and explore more knowledge. Thank you. Bye-bye.